It's Tuesday, the 2nd of May, and you are watching Primetime News. Good evening, I'm Joy Gosses. Leading this bulletin, President Dr. Hage Geingob paid tribute to workers for the crucial role they play in advancing socio-economic development and shared prosperity for the Namibian people. Geingob in a statement said, "The fight for freedom in Namibia has its origins in the demands of workers for fair labor practices and better working conditions for the black majority."
Geingob, in a statement on the occasion of the annual International Workers' Day on Monday, said the fight for freedom in Namibia has its origins in the demands of workers for fair labor practices and better working conditions for the black majority. He said during the Liberation Struggle Workers' Day was an occasion for the oppressed workers of Namibia to unite and sharpen their resolve to accelerate their fight against the apartheid regime and to break the chains of oppression. The head of state noted that workers are a precious resource in the history and development of the country. He said, noting that 33 years after independence, working in a triumvirate that includes government, trade unions and the private sector, Namibia has made good progress in advancing workers' rights consistent with the letter and spirit of the Namibian Constitution as a foundation of the Namibian House. Geingob further called on stakeholders to engage in good faith in collective bargaining to mitigate the impact of the economic downturn on workers, noting that those bargaining for workers' rights should at all times resolve labor disputes in a spirit that advances the interests of the country.
Staying with International Workers' Day, where Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema on Monday underscored the importance of harmony in the labor sector for economic growth and job creation. Hichilema said it will be difficult to create jobs without economic growth, which could be disrupted when there is disharmony between employers and employees.
Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema said enhancing and improving conditions for employees will only be realized if businesses are operating profitably and making money for reinvesting. He commended the employees in the country for their hard work and the industrial harmony that has existed in the country in the past year between employers and employees. He further said the government is keen to ensure improved working conditions for workers and is currently working on laws to ensure that this becomes a reality. The theme for this year's event is accelerating economic growth for job creation.
Now, on to a rather disturbing incident. Kavango East Police arrested 3 men aged between 15 and 27 after they allegedly gang-raped a 17-year-old girl at Siguru village on Friday. More from this insert.
The Namibian Police Force Weekend Crime Report on Sunday indicated that the incident happened at around 2300 hours when the trio reportedly ambushed and raped the teenage girl while she was intoxicated. The suspects are expected to appear in the Rundu Magistrates Court on Tuesday. In an unrelated incident, a 46-year-old man was arrested after he allegedly raped his 14-year-old stepdaughter between February and March this year at Kungu village in the Kavango West region. It is alleged that the suspect had sexual intercourse with the victim on 3 different occasions at the village. Police investigations in both matters continue.
Chief Public Relations Officer in the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Romeo Muyunda, says human-wildlife conflict has become more frequent and severe over recent decades in Namibia. These conflicts, according to Muyunda, range from destruction of crops and water installations to loss of livestock, homes, and in some cases injuries or loss of human lives. In response to these occurrences, the Line Ministry will be hosting a national conference on human-wildlife conflict management next week. Let's listen in.
The incidences of human-wildlife conflict having increased, they are mainly caused by issues like unplanned agricultural activities, also unplanned industrial activities. We have seen with the growth of human population as well as wildlife population, expansion of settlements, some to even wildlife corridors, worsening the situation. We have also seen the situation being worsened by elements of climate change. The recent droughts as well as floods have actually worsened the situation with intensified competition for resources. The conference is going to be attended by, among others, the members of the National Council as well as the National Assembly. Is going to be attended by the conservancies themselves. Is also going to be attended by community forest members, the members of the private sector, line ministries, national councils, members of the NGO, among others. It is anticipated that the conference will come up with recommendations or solutions that will help the country to manage human-wildlife conflict better, so that moving forward, our people should enjoy the fruits of conservation, and that the cost of living with wild animals must not outweigh the benefits.
Stay tuned for the business segment. Welcome to the business segment. Deputy Minister of Labour and Employment Creation, Hafeni Ndemula, has expressed concern that there are some employers who still do not pay their employees the minimum wages set for their respective sectors. Ndemula, at the commemoration of International Workers' Day at Swakopmund, stressed that there is still an alarming number of workers being paid low wages and as such cannot provide a decent standard of living for their families.
The Deputy Minister of Labour and Employment Creation, Hafeni Ndemula, has expressed great concern that not all employers ensure and provide a safe and healthy working environment for their workers, which should be employers' top priority towards employees. President of Namibia Public Workers Union, Evans Mashwahu, noted the need to review existing laws in order to ensure that deductions from workers' salaries are affordable and do not leave them in worse financial positions. Erongo Governor Neville Andre Itope emphasized the importance of a strong trade union movement and cordial relationships between stakeholders in the labor sector. The day was commemorated under the theme Workers United in Ensuring Productivity for National Economic Growth and Guarding Against Unfair Labor Practices in the World of Work.
On to continental business updates. Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo on Monday noted the country has made significant progress in its negotiations with the International Monetary Fund for a $3 billion loan. More from this report.
Addressing thousands of workers at this year's Labor Day celebration in Bolgatanga, the capital of the Upper East region, Ghanaian President Nana Addo Dankwa observed that the country has had fruitful engagements regarding its domestic debt exchange program, as well as with bilateral creditors to secure financing assurance. After achieving a staff-level agreement with the IMF, Dankwa said the country continued to work tirelessly to complete all prior actions required to present Ghana's program to the IMF Executive Board for approval. Ghana has been grappling with economic hardship since 2021, prompting the government to seek a bailout from the IMF to turn around the economy last year.
This brings us to the end of our top news segment for tonight. A look at what the weather has in store across the country. Welcome to Sport Planet. We begin the segment with the English Premier League. Mikel Arteta says Arsenal are still gunning for the Premier League title as he praised his squad for refusing to settle for Champions League qualification. Having topped the table for much of the season, Arsenal slipped from the summit following Manchester City's 2-1 win at Fulham on Sunday. City have now won 8 successive league games, including a 4-1 humbling of the Gunners last week, which put a 5th title in 6 years in their own hands. Conversely, Arsenal have taken just 3 points from their last 4 fixtures, but their form over the course of the campaign has at least guaranteed a return to Champions League football after 6 seasons away from Europe's top table. While City are now title favourites, Arteta will be aiming for a return to form when struggling Chelsea visit the Emirates Stadium later tonight, as he refused to rule Arsenal out of the hunt. On to some tennis. Novak Djokovic will be able to play at this year's US Open after the United States announced it is lifting its vaccine mandate on international travelers. The world number 1 is not vaccinated against COVID-19 and had previously been unable to enter the US. But the US policy will change on May 12, allowing the 22-time Grand Slam winner to return to Flushing Meadows in August. Stay tuned for the Sports Roundup. On that note, we have come to the end of tonight's bulletin. Thanks for tuning in. Do make a date with us again tomorrow for the Primetime News Midweek edition. From myself, Joy Gosses, and the entire crew behind the scenes, it's good night.